Welcome to The Connection Code, a podcast where we explore the relationships that make your life and work just a little bit better.
I'm Jeana Anderson Cohen. I've spent the past 13 years building a sweat life, which has dedicated itself to fitness, friendship, and fun. I'm pretty obsessed with the friendship piece.
You're the most obsessed with friendship. And I am Rachel Gilman-Rischel. I run a PR firm called 3PR. I am fixated on food. Every time Jeana comes over to record this podcast, I actually say, do you want a snack?
The answer is always yes.
So I love to feed and I love to introduce people. And so I feel very lucky right now that my work and my personal interests are so aligned.
Yeah, and another big question besides do you want a snack that we start every podcast with is whatever is on our mind. So Rachel,
Yes.
You brought the big question today. What is it?
Okay, so this is something I've spent maybe an inordinate amount of energy thinking about and playing with. But the question is, how do you get someone you admire to respond to you? Cold email, no relationship, you're reaching out. How do you get a response?
You have to have a formula. I feel like you have to have a formula. Have you tried things that didn't work and stumbled upon a formula, or is there a tried and true method?
So despite 20 plus years in PR where I send emails for a living, I discovered this by accident. And I call it the compliment theory. So I realized that I'm the type of person where if I feel positively affected by something, I want to share that with the person. If there's an op-ed that I thought was really touching and well written, if there was a restaurant review I really loved, if there's somebody that is impacting my kids in a positive way, I've just realized that if I'm thinking something good about somebody, why not say it? And I've also come to realize that I think people are wired to be gracious and kind. So if you extend a compliment, even if that person is a stranger, they usually and invariably will respond and say, thank you so much. So I have a couple funny test cases. At first, I was just doing this with writers, which made sense with my job. If I love something that somebody wrote, I would send them if I loved something that somebody wrote, I would send them a note and compliment their writing or the subject matter. But then I went bigger. For instance, I really like Mark Cuban, and my kids got hooked on Shark Tank, and they're only in 5th grade.
Yeah.
But they got really excited by these Shark Tank pitches and the judges' feedback and the creativity and the ideas. And they would fake pitch me and my husband on their business ideas. And they would really go for broke. Like, they would walk in, they'd have their opening line, they would make up a product that didn't exist. They were totally activated and creatively energized by Shark Tank. So did I. And their favorite judge, Mark Cuban,
of course.
So I had read somewhere that Mark Cuban is a super responsive emailer and that his email lives on the internet. So I just decided one weekend to send Mark Cuban a thank you note. So I looked up his email and I just sent a short and sweet note, also key. It has to be short and sweet. Nobody wants a lengthy email. And I just let him know that I'm the mom of twin daughters, that my kids are really into Shark Tank. They are inspired. They are really motivated. Their lemonade stand is going to kick ass this summer. And I just wanted to share my appreciation. And he wrote me back the very same day, which is incredible. Like, people I know don't write me back the same day.
I take 2.
Which is normal.
Yeah.
And so this is not a one-off. I met Swisher, who I think is a phenomenal podcaster and tech journalist and just like really admirable figure who speaks truth to power. I just love her MO. And I saw her speak in Chicago. And I looked up her email and I sent her a thank you note because I enjoyed her book and her speech so much. And she wrote me back. And also, the third example I'll share is Andrew Ross Sorkin is a CNBC. You're nodding because you know, but maybe, for those out there, Andrew Ross Sorkin is a...
Not to be confused with Aaron Sorkin. Keep going.
Not, you know what? It is confusing sometimes.
Yeah, isn't it?
Same initials.
Yeah.
So he has a daily New York Times newsletter all about business that I love. I just think it's well written, it's informative, it's snappy, it's what I need to know. And so it's kind of like a coffee ritual is to open my email and read his newsletter. And I thought, you know what? Maybe he wants to know how great this newsletter is.
You and Andrew in the morning, I'm sure he appreciated it.
Well, he did. I sent him a compliment. I just basically told him I think it is digestible, informative, helpful for the day. He and his team do a great job. I find it required reading. thank you so much for the work you put in. Wrote me back within 24 hours.
What did he say?
I can pull up the verbatim, but essentially, like, thank you so much for reading. I'm really glad to hear this. And what this has shown me, and these are just 3 examples, and I know I'm going on a tangent.
No, not a tangent.
Is that if you reach out to somebody, this is how the compliment theory works.
Okay.
If you reach out to somebody with a genuine moment of appreciation, a compliment that is rooted in something you honestly feel, and you say it succinctly and you say it with real intent, I think that the majority of people who receive that will want to respond and say that they appreciate it. And then, if in the future you want to make an ask, you want to propose a meeting, you want to call, there's just whatever thing that you really desire, at least you can go back to an email thread that has been rooted in graciousness and gratitude. And forever that email thread will be a positive one that you can reinsert yourself into. So I've had no asks for them since.
Yes.
But I love that these emails live on in my inbox. I love that we had a little back and forth. I love that they took a moment out of their day to respond kindly. And I just feel that if people are kind of stuck on forming new relationships or trying to get in touch with someone they admire, that what they should start with is, who do I look up to? Who positively impacts me? Who do I feel like really glad that they're putting something in the world? And then how can I let them know without expectation attached?
I love that. Because I think, Rachel, what you're doing is you're detaching the transaction from the relationship.
You're brilliant. That's exactly it. That's the crux of it. Yes.
Yeah. Because I think the thing that gets stuck in your inbox is the transactional nature of these. Like, you and I both get transactional emails where people are asking us for something with no relationship, with nothing attached to it, and it's not going to be the first thing you respond to.
No. You know what you made me think about?
Tell me.
Is in uncoupling these two things, it's really just a 2-step process. Take an email that would have been one, where it's a compliment and an ask, and separate it into 2. Make your first email just the compliment. See if they respond to you. Let it breathe for a moment. And then if that ask is still relevant and exists and you need to do it.
While I have you.
Yes. Then you can send that second email, but it's unbundled. The compliment is separate. It doesn't feel icky in that, oh, Jeana, you look so beautiful and I love XYZ. And by the way, can I ask you this favor?
Can you do my event for free?
Yes. Because we all give and take in this way, but it does feel so much better if somebody reaches out just to say, I really appreciate this thing you do. You're great at it, or it makes me feel good, or that advice resonated, and that's it.
So what you're doing for business, networking, and relationships is basically like putting friendship first. So you're essentially saying, like, or we can take the friendship out of it, the appreciation, the gratitude, the general humanity of it. You're a human first connector. So so the way that you're connecting with these people is you're connecting one-on-one as a human, like sharing general gratitude, genuine gratitude for the work that they're doing. And then later, maybe, not always, like, what percentage of these emails do you think you actually follow up with an ask?
At this point, not so many, because I don't need something. I'm just trying to be
a good person.
An appreciator. Actually, here's another cute one.
Tell me.
Kayla, my daughter, being an aspiring astronaut, we really like on the Today Show Tom Costello because he's the aviation correspondent, and anytime there's a space feature, he's usually the person who reports.
Yes.
So I thought, you know what?
What a great job.
I should tell Tom Costello that he is a really big 5th grade fan.
Yeah.
And so I did. I just sent him a little note telling him that my daughter really loves his coverage. She has these big goals one day. Thank you for all the wonderful reporting that you do. We watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you. He wrote me back in sub 10 minutes. And then he recommended space camps.
Of course.
And also that I could buy her a spacesuit. I think it was through like a Smithsonian shop. And then it turns out he has daughters. And then we had a little correspondence.
Yeah.
So it was just the cutest.
He sent you resources?
He sent me resources. It was so nice. Also, I think if you can involve your kids, that goes well too.
Yeah. Yeah, because people, I mean, like, not to say put a cute baby in your emails, but like,
don't
people,
not put a cute baby.
People love cute kids.
Yes.
Was this before or after Kayla went to space camp?
This was actually before.
Okay.
Yes.
So then you could prepare for space camp with guidance he'd given you. Oh my gosh.
I know. So I want, if anybody listening tries the compliment theory and gets a nice note back, please let us know somehow. I really am a test case of one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to put a little personality in the email and be real. But again, nothing lengthy. This should be a couple lines.
Okay, so Rachel, I was thinking, since you brought this big question to the episode, and there's going to be a lot of change in my life. My husband and I are building this new business in New Buffalo, Michigan, which you know and love.
We just did a shimmy for anybody who's not watching. We're excited.
It just came out of us. Yeah, so that'll be the social clip. and so we are, because we're like investing so much time and effort and money and our friends and family's money, we're moving nearby. So we're going to be there. I will be here in your house, Rachel, I swear to God, as much as possible.
Great. I love this.
Yes. But, okay, so if you were me, I know we've talked about, like, big questions in previous episodes have been, like, how to start a network from scratch if you know no one. How would you use this, though? If you were moving to a new place, starting from, like, in a lot of ways from scratch, needed to build business relationships, but also needed friends.
Oh, Jeana, you are a test case right here before us. Okay. Do you remember when we talked about the power of one good connector? Mm-hmm. Do you have a singular person?
There are a couple of people who I think can be the one.
Okay.
I actually started a spreadsheet that was like, okay, here are the run clubs I'm going to go to. Here's the yoga class I'm going to attend every week in a barn. Here is like the restaurant tours everybody knows, like the sort of like business owners, like people who create connections. So there are a couple people. Okay.
I'm feeling a multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be very natural for you. Mm-hmm. I think as you spend a lot of time there, you're going to start to become a regular at a few select places.
Okay.
Everybody's nicer to you when you're a customer,
That's true.
as we've talked about, and you show face and you promote their businesses a little bit on social media. Mm-hmm. And so you become somebody who's like a good neighbor to their business. Mm-hmm. Then, as you get introduced, I think it's always well received when you say, so-and-so told me I had to meet you because you're so amazing, and here's why. Like, you're going in compliment heavy, real compliments, but here's why I wanted to meet you so much, and here's what I like about you. And then obviously you're treating for the coffee or the adult beverage or whatever the activity is. Yeah. And we've talked about the difference between I want to learn about you versus I want to pick your brain.
Oh, yes.
And I know this is not earth-shattering information, but nobody likes their brain picked. But everybody loves to share their story.
Yes. I don't need you to help me run my business. I want to get to know you. I think what's interesting is we're also bringing in the guidance that Sarah shared on her episode too, because she sort of does that matchmaking work where she'll say, like, Rachel knows this, this, and this. Jeana knows this, this, and this. So I'm essentially doing it for myself. Like, this person told me I had to meet you, and this is why they love you. And
could you host a little gathering where the people you know are tasked with bringing one or two extra people that they could vouch for that they think are amazing? So it's like an amazing party, and you can only invite somebody that you think is super awesome.
That everyone will enjoy.
Yes. And you keep it, what, do we say, like 15 people or less?
Absolutely. I was thinking 8 to 12. I like 15 or less.
Yes. I think Priya Parker's rule was 15 or less.
15 or less, yes. And in a circle. She likes a circle.
Yes.
Okay.
But I like tapping into everybody's network one degree further and saying, can you brainstorm the best possible person that you think would add to this gathering?
Yeah, the intention is X.
And maybe you're doing your tarot readings, or maybe you have fun beverages, or maybe there's an activity, but you're giving perhaps a preview of your business and letting these people know that they're going to be on your VIP list. There's going to be a brand new Jeana VIP list. They're going to be the first ones.
I could do it on a Monday too, because it's anyone who's sort of like in an adjacent, not to get too in the weeds, but anyone who's in sort of like an adjacent business, like they're so busy on the weekends in New Buffalo and the surrounding areas. So I think like a Monday or Tuesday would feel nice because it's sort of the service weekend.
And handwritten notes.
Okay, before? Like to invite? Or after?
It could be both. I just find anything that shows effort, curation, personalization goes so much further. Yeah. So it might be really cute if you did a handwritten invitation.
I can do a handwritten invitation. My handwriting is shit, but I will try. I really tried my best. Did you have a graduation party from high school, by the way?
Are you talking about thank you notes?
Yes.
Oh, I just knew it. I just already had a flashback to how many thank you notes I had to write. I know. Yes.
Yeah. So like I wrote. So Rachel, I have to tell you, I did not write thank you notes for my wedding because of the experience that I had from high school.
You didn't write thank you notes?
I didn't write thank you notes. And I held like the line. I really held the line from.
Wait,
this is gonna make your skin crawl.
Dying.
Yeah. Okay. Let me tell you why I still don't even agree with my own decision, but I'm still holding the line. So high school, my high school graduation party, I wrote the thank you notes literally on the way to my Madison, Wisconsin, the University of Wisconsin, like orientation. So it was like high school graduation. We got in the car, went to orientation. I wrote the thank you cards, put them in the mail in Madison. So it was like timely.
Yes.
I personalized them. I thanked them for the specifics, and then immediately got feedback from, I won't say who, but someone who one of my parents worked with, because everybody's retired now, about how bad my handwriting was. Yeah, it was like the cards were great. They appreciated my personalization, but her handwriting, woof. And then, and I don't know why I found out. I feel like I overheard my mom telling my dad. It wasn't like my mom told me. It was my mom told me. Yeah, yuck.
I cannot believe, what a curmudgeon. You don't look a thank you note. What is the expression?
Don't look a gift horse mouth. Thank you note in the mouth. Yeah. Yeah. So this was my experience with it. And I was like, well, okay. So our wedding comes around. And I'm like, why are women always stuck writing the thank you notes? 2, I've already thanked everybody. and 3, I don't want to go through it again.
Yeah.
And so I held the line on that. It's been a little over 10 years. I actually, this year I was like, maybe I just send everyone like a 10th anniversary thank you card.
That would be really funny.
Thank you for attending our wedding and for your gift.
Can I build on your thank you note story?
Yes, you can.
First of all, that is the ballsiest thing I've ever heard, and I kind of love it.
I was like, I thanked these people.
My mom was very obsessed with thank you notes.
Yeah.
As I've become an adult, she's loosened her hold. Mm-hmm. But I had a large bat mitzvah, and she was determined that I would get these thank you notes out in a timely manner. So I had to write 10 a day after school until the pile was done.
It's very Schmidt from New Girl. Keep going.
So that was no fun. But then when it came to wedding thank you notes, we also had a really big wedding.
Yeah. How big?
We invited about 400. And
oh,
I think
Rachel,
we hosted
that's huge.
320.
Oh, wow. Well, of course, because you have so many friends. And how do you leave anyone? No. And family, too, right?
So many family members.
Yeah.
I thank you for the friends thing. It was both of in Ruben's family and my family, we were the firstborn and the first ones to get married.
Yeah.
So everybody went a little too deep into their list. But when it comes to the gender stereotype, I said to Ruben, if they were on your list or they're your side of the family, it's your thank you note. And if they're my family or I invited them, it's my thank you note. So there was no chance I was covering off on all the thank you notes. And then we got a hot tip, which was pack them up in like a freezer bag, like the envelopes, the stamps, all the stuff. And then on your flight to your honeymoon, which, you're there for, say, 7 to 9 hours, bang out thank you notes. And so we packed our thank you notes and wrote them on the flight to our honeymoon and the flight back from our honeymoon, which really took the pile down. But if you're going to do them, and I do admire / cringe at the fact that you didn't, it should be equal.
You know what?
Set the precedent.
Yeah, I feel like you really took an Eve Rodsky approach to this.
I love Eve Rodsky stuff.
Yeah, Fair Play by Eve Rodsky. Like, she's but what she would have done, actually, I think she would have done exactly what you did. And if we were to ask her about thank you notes today, I think she would be like, yes, that's how to do it. Because her whole thing is plan, execute, and then there's one other thing.
Oh,
right?
That you own the whole task.
You own the whole task.
Yes.
You own it from top to bottom. But I think she would like that you divided it by his and hers. Okay, maybe we'll do that for this 10th anniversary year and do like a picture of it. Who knows?
I'm thinking that maybe you pay Sheer to write your notes for you because she does have really good handwriting.
Or a calligrapher. We paid a
You don't have to go crazy.
Or I just keep going in this direction and don't write thank you notes. And then we can start over on the next big thing, I'm
sure there's some cute service that mimics handwriting. The point is, for your special gathering that you will be hosting.
I'll do thank you notes for that. We can start over.
Yes.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm so happy I learned this tidbit about you. You're the one and only.
Yes. I was like, I just can't do it. I cannot do it. I don't know, Rachel. There was just a mental, emotional, and physical block that came up around thank you
Did
notes.
Justin feel strongly?
He didn't feel strongly either way.
Okay.
I think there was part of him that was like, well, I think people might get annoyed. But it was also like, I feel like if I had proposed a split, then it would have happened. But I did not propose a split. I was like, I'm not doing them.
Sure.
So that is... Anyway, we've veered off topic.
Okay.
I will write thank you notes.
And you're going to make friends.
Yeah.
And you're going to do all the things. But I think it is a combo platter, to answer your question
Yes.
and come full circle.
Yes.
That you're going to try to find super connectors who are willing to really make warm intros. You're going to use your compliment theory.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to invite people to do fun things. You're the best at saying, I'd love to be friends. Can we do something?
I can make
put
a
it
plan.
on the calendar.
Yeah, I can make a plan
Yes.
with the best of them.
For sure. You'll
Okay.
host something.
How should I track it? Should I spreadsheet this?
You do love a good spreadsheet.
I
So
do.
Jeana's Michigan adventure begins now.
Spreadsheet.
Yes.
Spreadsheet.
Okay, so should we do show and tell?
I would love to do a show and tell.
Do you want to go first?
I would actually... Sure. I would love to go first, but I'm so excited for your show and tell. Okay, so this week Rachel let me cheat, and I saw her show and tell.
Oh, it's
but
so
I'm,
good.
I'm so excited to talk about it. Okay, but I'll do mine first. So what I want to talk about for show and tell is the idea of conspicuous creation. Because I talk to you about this sometimes, Rachel, where like I try to do creative things like a little in a scary way where you're not quite done with it. And the reason I'm bringing conspicuous creation is because I believe that it is a way to involve your friends, your network, your people in your big ideas. Would you like an example of what I mean by conspicuous creation?
Yes, and I feel like you've also called this creating out loud.
Yeah,
creating
out
public.
loud. Yes, creating public, conspicuous creation, create any of those, whatever feels good to you. It's basically like not being in stealth mode about your big ideas. One thing that we did conspicuously or out loud was with Petite Acres, which is our project that we're building in New Buffalo. We started talking about it immediately. Like when we closed on the property, we were talking about it. We were talking about what we intended to build there. We didn't have our financing complete. We talked about like the kinds of things that were happening there. It was basically like the idea of manifesting, but like manifesting the partners, the relationships, the people who would help us bring it to life. Just sort of being like, hey, we have 4.25 acres. Here's what we're building there. Here's the sort of vibe we're creating. And then we sort of watched and made effortful outreaches to the sorts of people who could help us along the way. So that's one sort of idea of conspicuous creation. But I've also seen people who conspicuously create things like their books, their podcasts, their big goals. Like our friend Sarah Spain, when she started working on her book, she was writing along the way and talking about her big writing adventure. So I guess the thing I want to challenge for show and tell is for listeners, all of our listeners, to maybe think about the thing that you're doing creatively, and maybe if you're keeping it a secret, what is the best thing that could happen if you allowed your network to help you?
That is powerful. And I love it because I think there's something scary about revealing your creativity in progress. It's like showing your rough draft.
Yeah.
But the potential upside is that people who are skilled or further along or have some expertise could help you shape it, as opposed to you getting to the end of something and being like, here it is.
Yeah.
And now
yes.
it's almost like it's too baked to take that input.
Yes. Because people say things like, oh, I love it. Have you thought about this? Have you talked to this person? And the answer is usually like, we haven't thought about that. Thank you for bringing it up. We haven't met that person. Can you make an introduction? So it's a very interesting way to forge connections.
I love this for you. And I've been very proud and excited to watch you make Petite Acres a group project.
Thank you. It is a group project. Okay, Rachel, I am so ready for your show and tell, please.
So I don't want to speak for both of us, but I feel like all week long we keep an eye out for things that are interesting in the connection space so that we can dissect it. And this was a real gem. And it has some unexpected twists. I love the Wall Street Journal.
Yep.
And I saw a story pop up about 6 women who wanted to plan a group trip to celebrate their 50th birthdays. So they used their text thread to get this trip in motion. And it went very wrong. So this is an entire Wall Street Journal story about 6 professional women who live all over the country who've been friends for years, trying and failing miserably to plan a special getaway. And it included snippets of the text.
Which, by the way, wild.
Wild.
Yep.
I think I would sooner open my diary than share group text.
Yes, absolutely.
Then there was a side thread, which they copped to, and then had messages from the side thread. There was a little bit of like sharp elbows in the messages. Like some people wanted to go to Colombia. Some people wanted to go to Dubai. Some people wanted to go to Florida. Then there were people saying, this isn't special enough for our 50th. So not to spoil this whole story, there's my automatic light behind you.
Hello.
Yes, hello, there's our light.
Good evening.
They didn't plan a trip. The birthdays came and went. Nobody got it together. They did not land on a destination. Feelings were hurt. There was some miscommunication. And then this becomes a nationally shared story. A few things. I realize that I'm friends with the writer, work friends, Kellie Gerardi. She's a great writer. I've known her for many years.
It was an excellent piece.
So I send her a text. I'm like, this is a wild story.
Yeah.
By the way, I just realized I recognize a name in the piece. I think that I was in her professional mom group. And she said, Rachel, you introduced me to that professional mom group.
Oh my God.
So not only did I recognize this woman's name, but I'd forgotten that I made that link, that intro for Julie many years ago. And so Julie and I had a funny text conversation about the text story. And what boggled me the most is that they did not jump on a Zoom or a group FaceTime to say, our friendship matters.
Yeah.
Let's be together. Destination is important, but it's not everything. Could we come to some sort of like group vote?
Yes.
And if it's a place that not all 6 of us are excited about, just like in book club, sometimes you have to read a shitty book because the majority want to read the book.
Yeah.
Then the next time you get priority.
For example, Abby Jimenez's latest book was not very popular in my book club, but we all needed to read it. Rachel, what would you have advocated for the Zoom? Would you have put everybody on the Zoom?
Not to embarrass my family, but we have been trying and failing to plan a special getaway in summer 2026 for my parents' 50th.
You got a year.
We've been working on this for a year and a half.
Okay.
We've lost 6 months. We keep trying to find, it might actually at this point be a Petite Acres. I forgot to tell you. We cannot figure this out.
It'll be great.
But we have gone from Montana to Door County.
I forgot to tell you we're renting out your booked.
Yes, so if you could finish construction.
Great, we'll be done in May.
But literally, we have gone down a path in Montana. We have Door County. We've done New Buffalo. We are nowhere at this point. But what we have done to channel Priya Parker is we have had multiple Zooms to say, as a family, what's the intention of this trip?
Right.
What do we need out of it? What are the non-negotiables?
Yeah.
We're going to have a 3-year-old and a 75-year-old. What does everybody need in terms of sleeping arrangements, activities, budget, all this stuff?
A fancy hotel or a big Airbnb?
Yes. So even though we have not mastered it in my family, I think we're having productive and open conversations. And yet these women who I'm sure are smart and good friends and love each other didn't even get a trip.
As type A.
They did.
So I think can I dissect it a little bit?
Please.
Okay, so
I have not stopped.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it pretty much nonstop since you sent me this story yesterday. Because I just am like, all of you I know you're all so smart, but
so smart. Nobody
advocated for, I think, 3 things that would have helped the trip. So one of the things would have been like your non-negotiables. There was one person in the group chat that said they were talking about, I believe, Mexico or Florida. It was one of those. And she responded by saying, this doesn't check any of my boxes. What are your boxes? What are your boxes?
Reveal the boxes.
Reveal the boxes so that you can share. Okay, so if we're getting 3 of our 10 needs met per person, that's, I think, the best you're going to do on a group trip. If you have 10 needs for travel, everyone else has 10 needs for travel. So you're not going to get all 10. Are you okay with 3? Are you okay with 5? You might have to travel with the smaller group. So like agree on how many non-negotiables you're fine with letting go of, I think is thing number 1. Like share the list. Thing number 2 is put someone in charge.
So smart. You need an alpha.
You need a project manager.
A project manager.
An alpha, a boss, a project manager, whatever you want to call it in the group. Like, this trip is on, there was a woman in the story named Elise. I don't know why that name stuck with me, but Elise is in charge now. Okay? Elise, you run the spreadsheet. If you are listening to this, Elise, you are in charge of the girls' trip. Okay? Okay? And here's what you're going to do. You're going to institute thing number 3, democracy.
The group vote.
The group vote. Yes, you need a little democracy, but I think you set yourselves up for success. So my sister-in-law, Casey, hi, Casey. Shout out to Casey. Casey and her girlfriends did the smartest thing for a girls' trip. I don't believe they had one person in charge. They may have, though, but they did submit locations.
Okay.
Everyone submitted a location, and they agreed
in
to
an
rules.
email, or how did they do the
in
submission?
an email?
Okay.
I believe they did it in an email, but they did on a video call. They chose locations out of a hat, and the last location chosen was the place they'd go.
Okay.
So things got a little shaken up because one of the key friends was about to give birth. So they did end up going to a different location, but they all agreed to the rules. They abided by the rules. They submitted their locations, and they picked a place.
Because rules
make fun. I'll say that a little quieter in case we need to edit it. Rules make fun.
I mean, I understand. I think the reason this story resonated with me is because I've been on many a girls' trip, many a bachelorette outing, and you learn along the way how planning can get hard, complicated, and fraught, or how it can be like pretty seamless and well done.
Yeah.
And the point is to take the trip.
Just exactly, like, book the flight, take the trip. Like, they hadn't looked at flights for these places. There were several points in the text conversation where it was just like, it appeared to me as if there was a little bit of intention, but not that much. Like, it was 10% we're going to take this trip, 90% we're just going to dream about it.
Yeah, it's funny, even before reading this story, I have 2 high school girlfriends. One lives about an hour away from me, and one lives in a totally different city. And we've been saying forever, with not a lot of urgency, we should take a trip. We should take a trip. And I am just I'm going to call it, I'm in my nostalgia era.
Yeah.
I am feeling like time can be fleeting, make plans, do the thing, see the people.
thing.
So I just text them, I'm like, we're doing the trip.
When?
So in one afternoon of heavy texting, while one friend was at her son's this and one friend was at her daughter's that, we got a date. We're like, Charleston weather looks good.
Amazing.
We accidentally booked over Father's Day. Everybody's husband is fine.
They'll be fine.
Yes. And
they will have a Father's Day like most Mother's Day, taking care of the children. Okay, go on.
But I guess I appointed myself team captain. Nobody seemed to
You're the
mind.
boss.
But I'm like, I have a couple hotel links. Any preferences? They let me pick. I said, I have some restaurants in mind. They're like, go for it. I'm like, these are the flights that look good. Great. So in one afternoon, flights, hotel, restaurants, we're
Project
going
manager.
for basically 50 hours.
Project manager Rachel solved the group trip.
It was only 3 people, though.
Well,
I
think 3 can be as challenging as 10 sometimes, because it's still like, if you're not marching in one straight line together, like, you could sort of, I don't know, what else? Yourself to death.
Yes.
And I also think there was one other thing you said that I think resonates with a lot of like friendship, networking, relationship moments, and that's the we should. We should get coffee. We should do lunch. We should go for a walk. We should never results in a plan until someone captains it, like you did, and you said, when? When are we doing this? Because should, just as our friend DJ Blattner likes to say,
Yes.
should leads to a shouldy life, and we don't live shouldy lives, we take action.
Oh, I didn't know that Dawn one.
Yeah.
But it is true, and I feel...
She uses it in other contexts, but I like it.
I'm just thinking about how true that is. And there's plenty in business where the we should is a soft way of non-committally removing yourself from something.
Yeah, we
like,
should do that sometime.
yeah, like, let's stay in touch, but
Yeah.
I'm not chomping at the bit to make that plan. But for the people that you genuinely want to see in work or in personal life, I think we have to self-appoint. We have to put it on the calendar.
Yes.
We have to nail the date. If there's somebody I really struggle to make plans with and I want to make sure it doesn't fall off, I finish one plan by setting the next one up. Like, I don't leave the dinner or leave the time together without saying, it's been so crazy. Like, let's look, I don't know, like a month and a half out and just like save a date.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And then it's just there for the taking.
Yes. There was a woman sitting next to me.
I sound so compulsive.
No, you're not compulsive. I think what you're doing is you're establishing a ritual. Did I ever tell you about the young woman that was sitting next to me, and she had her friend who was leaving her. She was leaving her job where they both had become like work wives.
Oh, yes. And they were worried about the friendship dissipating.
Did I tell you that on this podcast? It's hard to really tell real life from podcasts.
I know. We've talked
anymore.
a lot lately.
We
I'm
talk
not
a
sure.
lot. Well, let me tell you what. The thing that I really had to tell her without her ever asking me, I shouted it at her as she was packing up to go. This girl who seemed sad and upset that her work wife was leaving her, was going on to a new job. I was like, if you want to stay friends with her, I know it's none of my business, but I need you to know the thing you have to do is establish a ritual. And I like threw that at her, and she received it, and she was like, you know, I've been meaning to play badminton with her. Maybe we'll join a league.
You're so right, though.
So I think the ritual keeps friendship fresh, keeps you going, and you do it however you need to do it.
Yeah. I'm only sharing this because I happened to listen to Moshe's podcast today, and you know how he does This Day in History? Mm-hmm. Apparently today was the last episode of Dawson's Creek.
Oh, no.
Which I loved in high school. And my superlative senior year was most likely to be on Dawson's Creek.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
But I had a friend Becky in high school, and we watched Dawson's Creek.
You're giving Pacey a little. Like Pacey's girl. Like you would be like the Katie Holmes on the show. Like everyone would love you.
Oh, I mean, I would have loved to be mistaken for Joey in high school. She was so cute.
Okay, keep going.
But so my friend Becky and I watched Dawson's Creek together every week. Mm-hmm. And my friend Kelsey and I watched Friends together every Thursday. Mm-hmm. And I was usually at her house. And I didn't even realize how powerful that ritual was until I went away to college. Yeah. And her mom sent me a care package and said, I really miss seeing you on Thursday nights. And it was like cute snacks and things like that. And I realized that I think that's what helps friendships flourish is a foundation, an activity, regularity, and tradition. Like, we're going to watch this show together. We're going to be on each other's couches. Yes. You just know you have that time, and it's so special. And I think in adulthood, it's hard to have a Dawson's Creek night.
Yeah, I think you have to really try. Like, it's a moment of casual friendship where you maybe start a show.
We did talk about start a show, and I thought it was...
Start a show. What mind-blowing. May I recommend 4 seasons?
A couple people have said this. So good. Maybe.
I think Moshe said it, too. You know what's crazy is when you talk about like this appointment TV is I can think back to my appointment TV friends. Like I had a Wednesday friend for Buffy the Vampire Slayer because we were really into Buffy. Thursday was for my mom. We watched Friends together. And then Friday you had like TGIF when you were a kid. You'd watch it with your little friends.
I know. And even now with my kids, we're really into The Voice. Mm. And so it becomes this like really cute family thing where we all pile on the couch together, we all get in bed, and we watch The Voice, and we say like, if you could be friends with one judge, who would you pick? Or who would you want on your team? The girls are really into Kelsey Ballerini, and I would like a platonic marriage with Michael Bublé.
Great.
I think he's the sweetest. Great. Yes.
I feel like we could talk about this all day. I also feel like, Rachel, you and I are just due for like a life catch-up anyway. So, I'm trying to like fit in little tidbits where I'm like, oh, here's a good way to make a friend. And also, did I tell you that I discovered a new thing?
I know. It's never enough time. Should we do our connection conversation?
I would love more than anything to do our connection conversation.
Okay, what is yours this week?
Okay, so I actually, for my connection conversation, I want to bring it back to Kellie Gerardi, the astronaut, because a couple of things. On our first episode, we talked about our dream connection. Kellie Gerardi was who I brought, and at that moment when we talked about her, she was pregnant. She had been going through IVF. She announced her pregnancy very early. She said to the world that it was very early because she wanted to bring the world along with her on her journey. She's been very public about IVF. She did experience pregnancy loss.
Oh, no.
Yes, and she also shared very openly, deeply, and vulnerably about pregnancy loss. Kellie Gerardi, we are thinking about you, and she won a Webby Award for her journey. For her journey sharing about IVF, not for being an astronaut.
Wow.
for sharing, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about this because I think it is so beautiful. Because so many families have gone through this. So many women have gone through this. So many people who want to be parents who have gone through this. So she shared openly about the journey and won a Webby Award. And I want to share what her 5-word speech is, because Webby gives you, by the way, only 5 words for your thank you speech. Are you ready?
Yes.
IVF, worst club, best people. I know. I know.
Wait, will you say that one more time?
IVF, worst club, best people. Are you going to cry? Because I'm going to cry.
My heart goes out to Kellie. That is really hard. And I celebrate anybody who, even in their moment of extreme grief, can say, I'm going to share this and hope to help somebody else.
Rachel and I are crying.
We're just having a little...
We're just having a moment.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, so I'm so grateful to you, Kellie, for sharing your journey. We're thinking about you, and I'm so happy that you were recognized for your vulnerability, because those are the sorts of awards we should be getting.
Yes. Vulnerability awards. Yes. And I'm going to spotlight another wonderful woman. So when we were talking about trying to get in touch with people that we wanted to build relationships with, there's a woman named Daniela who was on MSNBC, co-wrote a book with Mika, still writes for MSNBC, super impressive young woman. And she has a Latina cohort called Accesso Community, where she provides mentorship opportunities to professionals. And I, through work, really wanted to get in touch with Daniela. And so I was like popping in the inbox, and then I followed her on Instagram, and then we were DMing, and I sent her some food, and I just really wanted to be connected with her. And then I took my own advice and tried to up-level the relationship, move it off digital to face-to-face, and we had a Zoom date, and we had a really good Zoom, and I kind of felt like I knew her a little bit from all our correspondence, and she was great, super engaging, and she said, hey, would you want to speak to my cohort? I think it'd be interesting if you could share some of your experience with personal and professional branding, storytelling. It might be useful for these members of my group. And I was very honored and prepared, and I did the Zoom, and the cohort was so great and so engaging, and I just felt like what a beautiful thing that in addition to your full-time job, you are making time to mentor and develop other women. And we talk about like what lights you up and what gives you energy. Clearly, we both love to talk, but the chance to take things I've learned the hard way and share it with these women who were so receptive, so engaged, so appreciative. I got really nice notes afterwards.
Thank you notes.
Got some thank yous, digital thank you notes.
Thank God.
But I was just really touched, and I realized I love being able to participate in mentorship circles, and I hope I have the chance again, and I applaud Daniela and Accesso Community for the work that they're doing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Would you go back and speak to them again if you were invited?
100%. Oh, and Daniela surprised me. She said, can I include a transcription of some of your things that you've said in a Substack? So I'm in my very first Substack.
Whoa.
Yes.
What
so I'll share it on my Instagram. I was like, you know what? I like these tips too.
Yeah, you're like,
you
here's worked hard for those tips.
I'll share one last thing.
Okay.
I really believe in preparation. I think the worst time for an original thought is in an interview or a speech. Do the work ahead of time. So I asked Daniela, what do you want to know so I can put the thought in ahead of time? So she sent me some topics and directional things she wanted to cover. And I sat down like a student and I typed up all my answers. And then I sent them to her so she would know where I wanted to go and wouldn't be surprised by anything. And I don't think it felt canned or rehearsed, but it gave us both a lot of terrain that we were comfortable with. And then when I got on, I didn't freeze or feel incredibly nervous because I had prepared.
Yep.
And I just recommend that. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, it's just a Zoom, or I know what I'm going to talk about, or I've done this before. And it's actually to your detriment. You can always refresh. You can always hone. There's always a chance to sit down and be mindful about what you want to say. Not always on this podcast, because we are trying to be like off the cuff and fresh.
Moment.
We're in the moment. But if you're being asked to mentor people, I think it's worth doing.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit off tape with Danielle Robay too, because I gave her the compliment off tape that I always viewed her as when I went on the morning show that she was on here in Chicago. I always saw her as so prepared.
She is.
Yeah,
yes.
like completely prepared, and she'd be reviewing her notes and reading the news, so that she was ready to have the next conversations on the air, live, sometimes a little impromptu, but a lot of preparation. And she said, oh, thanks. I didn't feel like I was that good. And I remember just being like, no, preparation it makes you good. It's like 90% of it.
Absolutely. And I just encourage people, whether it's an interview or a presentation or a mentorship moment, I think we can all benefit from taking a little bit of time to forecast where we want to go and what points we want to hit so that we deliver our best self and our best advice in the moment.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. I feel like this is a good point to wrap up. Rachel, do you want to do the wrap up or do you want me to do it?
You wrap us up.
I would love to wrap us up.
You have a good wrap up voice.
This has been another episode of The Connection Code, a podcast about friends, connections, work, and everything in between. This is a production by Two Connections, Rachel Gilman-Rischel and Jeana Anderson-Cohen. You can follow us on Instagram and on LinkedIn using our full names. And we would love to hear from you if you have a thank you note, a compliment, a line to one of our key connections. Send us a note, a DM, or a LinkedIn message. Bye-bye.
Bye. It always